The Nigerian Air Force has undergone significant evolution over the past 60 years, marked by growth in size, capabilities, and strategic importance. In this report, Sifon Essien captures the milestones in its development and its quest to become the second largest air force in Africa in 2 years.
The Nigerian Air Force was established on April the 18th, 1964, following the passage of the Air Force Act 1964. Early training and support were provided by countries like Germany, India, and Canada. The focus was on developing a foundational structure and training personnel. After the Nigerian Civil War in 1970, the Nigerian Air Force expanded rapidly, acquiring more aircraft and developed infrastructure to support an independent air force. The next 10 years saw the acquisition of a diverse fleet including MiG-21 fighters, Sepakat Jaguar, and transport aircraft like the C-130 Hercules. There were several reorganizations of its structure while bolstering its training, aircraft, and equipment maintenance capacity. In the past 5 years, the Nigerian Air Force has taken delivery of several aircraft types, unmanned aerial vehicles, and boosted its equipment holding.
The Nigerian Air Force has evolved over the years from a basic tactical air force in the 60s and the 70s to an air force today that is capable of conducting strategic operations whenever required.
The service is aspiring to become the third largest in Africa within 2 years.
We're expecting 12 AH-1 Zulu helicopters, fighter helicopters from the US, 24 M346 from Italy. In fact, 6 will be coming on stream this year. We're arriving this year. And we're getting the trackers, I think 12 again. So we're talking about 48 in the next 1 or 2 years. The Nigerian Air Force will be the third largest air force in Africa. And the reason is simple. We're expecting 12 AH-1 Zulu helicopters, fighter helicopters from the US.
Currently, Egypt has the largest and most powerful air force in Africa with more than 1,000 aircraft. For the Nigerian Air Force, its 60th anniversary celebration presents an opportunity to close the gap.
We have very good days coming, or better days coming than what we have experienced in the past. So therefore, we should be happy and look forward to more auspicious days.
This Juma prayer in Abuja is part of activities to mark the anniversary.
If we harness everything in good way, we are going to achieve all breakthroughs that we have planned, okay, especially as a service.
For the Nigerian Air Force, 60 years is of significant importance in the annals of its development. Beyond the ceremonies, there is mounting pressure for the Nigerian Air Force to live up to its mandate of safeguarding the sovereignty and protecting the territorial integrity of the country. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.
For more perspective on this, the spokesman of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet, joins me on the news. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC News at 7. What significant milestones would you say the Nigerian Air Force has achieved in its 60-year history, and how have these contributions impacted the country's security and development?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. The Nigerian Air Force has come a long way. 6 years since its establishment, looking at how it took part in the Nigerian Civil War when it was barely 3 years old, to its escapades in Liberia and Sierra Leone, and of course its current efforts in trying to quell the challenges that we have security-wise. I think those efforts are more than enough to convince Nigerians that indeed the decision to establish it in 1964, April 1964, was a worthy cause and something that all Nigerians should be proud of. In terms of its significance to Nigeria as a whole, it's very, very obvious. It has become a very, very important tool for our international relations because of its escapades out of the borders of this country. And in keeping our country safe, it has contributed enough to our national security. So there are a lot of reasons why the Nigerian Air Force remains significant, not just to our country and the region, but of course to the entire African nation, because its efforts has extended way beyond the region. So I think it is an institution that all Nigerians should be proud of, and all Nigerians should come out and celebrate it.
And how has the Nigerian Air Force been able to adapt to changing security challenges and technological advancements over these years?
Yes, from time to time we carry out what we call a review of our security environment, and with that review we begin to understand how, of course, the enemy also tries to adapt and metamorphose. So with this kind of developments, the need for you to also advance your weapons, the need for you to also seek for partners to assist you in modernizing your weapons to ensure that you strike the enemy properly, it's always there. R&D is also one aspect that the Nigerian Air Force is investing a lot in, and of course trying to make sure that emerging technologies become part of our weapons system, part of our strategies to defeat the enemy is very, very key to us. One of the areas that we are looking at advanced technology, ensuring that we minimize collateral damage, is in the issue of precision weapons, because with such technologies you will be able to minimize collateral damages in some of the strikes that we undertake. And of course, that's why you're seeing that the frequency of some of those accidental strikes we used to have drastically reduced. So I think we are moving forward. Some of the platforms we are also receiving of late, and which we will also receive in the near future, are highly technical platforms that have been tested and proven to be very, very effective in ensuring that we move along with advanced countries and ensure that we carry out our jobs effectively.
And we know there have been concerted efforts to, tackle banditry, insurgency, and terrorism in Nigeria. How has the Nigerian Air Force contributed to this fight? And talk to us about the successes and challenges that you've encountered in this regard.
I think it's no longer a secret that the Air Force is the key enabler in the current fight against all forms of criminality in this country, because of how it has continued to support the surface forces in ensuring that we nip in the bud some of these challenges that we're having. It's not a secret at all. And we have continued to carry out joint and independent operations that we continue to report from here and there. Indeed, just about, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'm sure you must have read about our strikes in Niger State. Niger State is becoming a very, very major cause of concern for us, because these criminals are beginning to really, really find a heaven around that Shiroro area. And I think with the strikes that we have carried out in the last 2 or 3 weeks, they are beginning to understand that definitely they need to look for somewhere else beyond Niger State to settle, and of course outside this country. Our strikes in the Mandara Hills too have been very, very effective. Down in the Tumbus, close to the Lake Chad region too, we have been very, very effective in ensuring that we deny these enemies the freedom of movement. And it's there. You are seeing the terrorists surrendering in droves every day, every now and then. And these are not just by chance. Whatever, the fact that they are coming out to surrender to our troops is indicative that the efforts that we are collaborating with our sister services are working. So I think to a large extent, efforts are being made. What we're seeing most of the time now, like we keep on saying, are an increment in kidnappings. And I think it has also reduced to an extent in the past 2 or 3 months. So we will continue to adapt as the enemy too continues to think he is going to outsmart us, and it's not going to happen. We'll continue to make efforts to see that we checkmate all of their strategies and all of that. We cannot do this alone. Nigerians must continue to support us. They must continue to see us as partners in this fight against all forms of criminality by giving us the information we need, by helping us with intelligence so that we can easily track some of these criminals and make sure that they don't continually find ways of hurting us here and there. So it is not just a military effort, it's an effort by all Nigerians, all agents of government. Everybody must play his part, and so that we can ensure that we work together to nip this situation.
All right, then I know you have, an ambitious plan of moving from currently as the 5th, ranked Air Force in Africa to becoming the 3rd in the next 2 years. How do you hope to achieve this? If you can answer that in about 30 seconds.
Well, the last time I checked, I think we were about the 4th or thereabout. So I know that in the next 1 or 2 years, we should be moving up to the 3rd largest Air Force in Africa. And that is significant in itself. Air Force is not just about number of aircrafts. Your experience in the battlefield comes to bear. And I bet you, you can count the number of Air Forces in Africa that have had the kind of experience the Nigerian Air Force has had, especially in air operations. In the past 9 years, we have been engaged in various forms of air operations. Before then, we have been engaged in regional air operations in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and of recent in the Gambia. So these are experiences that are very, very critical in preparing an Air Force for future operations. And it's something that we don't take for granted. Indeed, we know that the challenges are there, but as we are going after the challenges, we are also modernizing and we are getting enough experience that is also going to prepare us for future challenges.
Really appreciate you for joining us, and congratulations to you and the team as you commemorate this 60th anniversary. Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet is the spokesman of the Nigerian Air Force. Thank you so much for talking to us.